They
I
keep
guess
the
if
grant.
you look at it in the sense of like the money going out and then the money coming back, but in reality, they're getting 565 because the 1.3 is paying for the hangar project, the 565,000, which is the match that the FAA is doing on that of being returned. What they do is they never put the money up front. You always have to put the money up front and then they do a repay. You know, they'll
But
pay you
but
back.
the airport's keeping it all.
Yeah.
We're not getting repaid on that.
Correct, no, that was a distribution to them for capital improvements for the hangar and for the future projects.
So, I mean, if some of these red lines are not consistent with what the commissioners want, I understand that and what was agreed to, but I mean, some of these changes, I think, are very good, prudent changes that protect the taxpayers. Like, you know, for example, if I'm just looking at the first one, this purpose, and then the original agreement is open-ended as far as how the airport can spend this money, and then the red line just changes this such as to consisting of being closed language, so you couldn't add anything to that list. So to me, that's just protecting the taxpayers. You know, you're not putting in golden trash cans or whatever. So I understand what you're saying as far as some of these changes maybe are not consistent with, you know, the gentleman's handshake agreement that went on, but I think we should at least consider some of these things so that we are protecting the taxpayer money that's going to the airport, because it's a significant investment in my opinion.
Do we want to ask for a motion of what you want to do? I mean, do we need to have a vote since we have
I mean, I
a
would,
disagreement here?
you know, based on our meeting in December, based on the motion we took, and based on the discussion that we had, I would make a motion to keep it, you know, based on the agreement that we drew up here as the original language that we had in the document.
I mean, at the very least, the red lines correct some inconsistencies with this agreement. So, I mean, there are things, I mean, just as an attorney, I would have a lot of problems if at least some of these changes are not incorporated. Even if you feel the substantive changes are unwarranted. Does that make sense?
I do understand what you're saying, but I think that we went back and forth with their legal counsel on this also. You know,
So this, I thought this was an initial draft. This is not an initial draft?
correct, but we basically, there was the discussion with the board, with their attorneys, and back with, you know, with our administrator, and it was a situation where, I mean, this pretty much summarized what, you know, we took action on, you know, at our meeting for this. And I understand that there may be some things. My whole thing is, I think that we can make this thing so muddied up that it gives so many restrictions of, you know, and I understand accountability, but I also understand the fact that if we can't trust the board that we have there to make good decisions, then maybe we just figure out the next move of abolishing the board, and then, you know, we just basically take on another set of responsibilities and just do it ourselves, because they do a great job there, and they've got a very talented group with a lot of knowledge and a lot of you know, professional background to be able to make a lot of these decisions that I would not want to try to go and attack a lot of these things that they do. And the biggest thing is they're, you know, there's no skin in the game for them other than improving our facility. And that's, I think, was one of the biggest things that we, you know, had the discussion with. And I know, you know, Commissioner Dvorak has talked to the board himself a number of times regarding this, and you've been to some of the meetings, and you see the process. It's not just a cookie cutter, you know, thing that they go through a lot of detail. But I mean, is there something specifically that stands out there that you really feel is an absolute red light to you there?
Yeah, I mean, like some of the things I just flagged in this meeting. You know, like I said, for example, this 1.1, like having it open-ended, that they could put this, you know, $1.8 million into whatever they want, versus the language that closed what projects they could do. I mean, those.
Yeah, but that's once again, I think that was what we, I think that was Our goal was to not close it off to specific projects, and I think that it was a situation where we allowed them to be able to make those decisions to run their airport. You know, I think we're micromanaging that board by doing this, by not you know, going along with what we did. And I think that, you know, are we still going to have accountability? Yes. And when ultimately you know, I feel like I'm very, very much engaged with their processes down there. Probably sometimes more than I would like to be or should, but it's something that I've found that very challenging to see the success story in that airport of what it was 13 years ago and what it is today, and the fact that if you look at the direction that they're going to be going to with this additional dollars, I think that was what the three commissioners in December, you know, made that decision based on too, is that they are going to be truly at a point that they're going to be self-operating, and they've come to us with some of these bigger projects that they couldn't do, but a lot of the general stuff could be
So I guess the question for me is, are we going to stay with the original agreement? Are we going to try and take into account some of the things that were proposed by our APA? What would you like to do?
So this is the agreement that was for December meeting? The one that was just passed out?
I
right.
don't know,
Yes.
because the one that I got from the airport authority did not match the one that Jerry originally drafted. So I'm not sure where you guys are, but my one question that I had was the one that they provided, said that they were going to handle all like the bidding process and that kind of stuff. And then when Mr. Hess was here in session, he said something about going out to bid through us. So I'm not sure where that part of the process on the hangar project
How about
itself
this?
is laid.
How about I get with their board to have them come in, and I'll sit down with them also, and we can kind of get instead of trying to make a you know, decision today specifically on this. Let me get with their board so that I feel confident, and I think that, you know, Commissioner DeVore, you feel confident too of what we did is what you know the direction that we went to in December. So I think the best thing to do is let me talk to them so that it doesn't have, you know, that there's no questions on, you know, that are unturned. And as far as with Commissioner Brakey, with some of her concerns, I'll bring those up, and then we can have this discussion and then get to a point of happy meeting. But I will tell you, as far as us trying to micromanage those dollars to try to do that, I think it's a road that we just don't want to go down. I don't.
No, I'm not interested in micromanaging. I just want to make sure that the airport is accountable to the commissioners for how they're spending their money. And if they want to do something like put a fountain in or whatever, they can do that with their money, but they shouldn't be doing that with taxpayer dollars. And so that's my concern, is that, but I'm certainly not interested in micromanaging, and I just want to make sure there's protection in place for the taxpayers in this agreement.